Hey guys, back with another review, this time of a band by the name of Kekal. You may have heard of them before, but you've never really looked into them. If you haven't, before this review, I ask that you do look into them, because this review might put you off. I'll be reviewing I think it's their 6th studio album. That would be The Habit of Fire, which was also the very first Kekal album I ever heard of. If you've never heard of Kekal or ever looked into Kekal, they were formed back in 1995, I think, or 1996, but I'm pretty sure it's 1995, and they come out of Indonesia, of all places. They started off doing, basically singing about Christianity and religion, but they've moved on to a more sort of I can't pronounce it because I'm Scottish, philosophical sort of themes. But they're one of the most original bands you'll ever hear, with a lot of different influences and a lot of different sounds in this album, and pretty much all their albums. You know, they have certain cultural influences, they have definite, you know, sort of deathy and screamo, or not screamo, but you know, they've got the high-pitched screams, they've got growls, and they've got cleans, which I don't think I could have bettered myself. Quadruple Play said it sounds just like a person out of Indonesia talking. And to me they sound really good. I really like the cleans. I'm also getting, I don't know if anybody else will agree with this, but I think they've also got quite a lot of industrial influence. I hear a lot of industrial in their music. Maybe it's just me, maybe I'm going crazy, but I think they do have a lot of industrial influence, which actually fits in quite well with the whole theme of the album, The Habit of Fire, which basically speaks about how sort of today's culture, today's industry, and the way things work today is very corrupt and pretty much just bad, which is pretty much true. But I can't really explain that. The way you have to find that out is you can't just listen to the music and go, oh yeah, I know what this is talking about. You have to look into the lyrics, because the lyrics are very deep, meaningful, and very, very complex. And it really takes Kekal to think of all this, and it's really, really good. Now, other than the lyrics being very meaningful, the music itself is absolutely spot on. This is great musicianship, and I believe they only had 3 people in the band at the time of making this. Although they did have a few guests on as well for certain things like fretless bass and other things like that. It's an 11-track album, and all of them basically follow the same story. Not a story like you find in Camelot, where, you know, they're singing about something made up, something fantasy, and not something like Orphan Land, where it's trying to tell a fictional story but in a different sense. It's actually telling the story of their opinions, and they're very valued and pretty much very true opinions. When I first heard this, it was actually pretty bad. I find Kekal very hard to get into, and I've spoken to a lot of people and they've agreed that Kekal is hard to get into. When you first hear it, you'll be like, it's pretty much bad, it's very out of place, but it does take time to get used to it, and in the end you'll find, wow, this is actually really meaningful and very, very good stuff, and it's stuff that you can pretty much relate to. Other than having a sort of story about the industry and stuff like that, the corruption, they also sing in a couple of their songs about religion, but not directly. They don't go, you know, sort of, oh, God said this, God said that, but they do say that, mainly in the last song, Escapism, which I'll give a link to in the description box, to a very good video of it, how God has actually guided them to do what they need to do, or to do what they want to do, and that God has basically let them do what they want. Some people might be put off by that. I'm probably putting it in quite a bad way. I recommend you just watch the video and work out for yourself. I'm probably putting it in a very bad way, and I'm probably putting you off, for which I apologise. But yeah, the album, it puts you, I can't really say what mood it puts you in, because it can put you in different moods at different times. You know, I listen to it, certain songs, and I'm going, oh, I feel pretty angry, you know. I feel angry about the way things are, I want to do something about it. And then, you know, for instance, the last song I was citing earlier, Escapism, that put me in a very religious mood, and that is basically what has set me off in me exploring different religions. It's very powerful, very influential music, and hopefully that will have the same effect on you. Well, not hopefully, but it might do, depending on your outlook and depending on how open you are to the ideas of Kekal. Basically that's about it for the review, because Kekal is a very hard band to review, especially this album, because it is very, very deep and very, very complex. I probably wouldn't be able to pronounce a single one of the titles other than Escapism and The Gathering of the Ants, maybe Isolated Eye. The other ones, it's not even just that I'm Scottish, they're just very, very hard and very complex titles. A lot of stuff they sing about is debated very heavily today. You know, you probably never find another band like Kekal, and I can really say that I've never heard anything like it, and I've never heard anybody else making songs about the things they're making songs about, you know, the different themes. So yeah, just check them out. I've put a description, in the description box I've put a link to the playlist, a link to Escapism, I'll put a link to Kekal's website in different places. I really recommend you check them out because they are fantastic. Don't be put off by them straight away. Like I said, they do take time to get into. They have 7 albums, they're on hold at the moment, but hopefully they'll get back together and create an 8th. So yeah, just check them out, see what you think, and maybe even make a response to this video. Thanks for watching.